Hi YouTube! It's time for another rousing edition of Plutonic Punk Garden Update 2009 edition. This gardening year has been really good so far. I planted my cool weather seeds earlier than I've ever planted them in my entire life, which was the last week of March. Actually, March 23rd was when I planted them. We had a little warm snap and the temperatures were going up to 15, 16 degrees highs, Celsius that is. I'm not sure what that is Fahrenheit, but you can get out the old, online converter if you really want to know. And so, yeah, I basically was able to plant lettuce, arugula, kale, snap peas. I just threw my carrots in there too at that time, and that was a little bit too early for carrots. I also threw my beets in at that time, and they've come up as well, so that was a little bit too early for beets as well. But lettuce, arugula, peas, what else are cold weather? Kale, Swiss chard, things of that nature are all cool weather crops, so you can plant them actually before the last frost, and they'll withstand even a light frost, and mine have so far. So yeah, that's been kind of an exciting experiment. I also have never grown snap peas before, and they've grown really well. Pretty easy crop to grow. So, and I love snap peas. Who doesn't love snap peas? Just pulling snap peas directly off your snap pea plants. What could be better than that, right? So that's been really great to see those guys grow. I haven't grown Swiss chard this year, even though I am in love with Swiss chard, as you probably could tell if you've watched any of the previous videos, because I know you guys are just watching these in a series, just can't wait for the next installment of these scintillating gardening videos. But yeah, I found out that Swiss chard is really high in oxalates, and oxalates aren't good for people who have compromised kidneys. And so what started happening to me, it actually happened when I started eating almond butter. And this is an FYI for anybody who's sensitive to oxalates or has kidney issues, kidney stones or any type of issues like that, pain or pressure in your kidneys. Almonds are an incredibly high oxalate food, and pretty much all nuts are, but almonds are the worst. And almond butter was on sale. I'd actually stopped eating almond butter due to price, which was protective, which I often find is the case. If you aren't doing something because it's too expensive, a lot of times it's good for your health. You know what I mean? You don't go out, you don't drink, you don't eat at restaurants, you don't do a lot of things. A lot of things that are kind of not the best for you end up being expensive. So yeah, so I'd gone off almond butter and I was eating organic peanut butter instead. But almond butter was on sale, and I was like, ooh, I haven't had almond butter in a while. So, and I know these health related stories are also incredibly interesting, but anyway, this is my life, so hey. Anyway, so I started eating almond butter instead, and I started having really bad issues with my kidneys, I was peeing weird, and I had pain and pressure back there, and just felt generally kind of gross and didn't have much energy. And then I was like, okay, well, the only thing that's different is this almond butter, so it must be the almond butter. So I started looking into it, and almonds are really high oxalate, and people who have kidney issues should limit their oxalates. And unfortunately, my favorite thing to grow, Swiss chard, is also high oxalate. So I haven't actually eaten Swiss chard since I started having those issues, and I still have a ton in my freezer from last year because I grew so much that I was able to blanch and freeze it, which I will eventually eat, because you don't have to cut out oxalates completely, you just have to limit them, right? So I didn't grow Swiss chard. Long story short, I didn't grow Swiss chard. Oh goodness, and look what's going on up there. Mr. Chemtrail in our beautiful blue sky. So we got a little aside here with the chemtrails being sprayed, and you can see that they've been sprayed. They've been spraying for a while. They're trying to get rid of these bright blue skies and these sunny days. Last night I actually took a picture of the sunset. Well, by the time I went back in for my camera, and by the time I came out for my camera, the sunset, you couldn't really see it, but it was like surreal because the sunset looked so beautiful because it was reflecting off these chemtrail wispy clouds, you know, and actual chemtrails. You could see 3 chemtrails kind of sprayed directly through the sunset, and the moon was out, and it was kind of a cool thing. But anyway, so good times. Chemtrails have actually made me ill in the past. And I actually just recently got a cold, and I thought it was chemtrail irritation because it felt very similar. It's like your nose starts running like a tap, the back of your throat and your lungs feel kind of, although my lungs weren't affected this time, but your lungs usually feel kind of coated with something kind of metallic or something. It's gross. And the last time it happened, I had just a hacking, horrible cough for probably about a week. And then, you know, it passed. So it's similar to a really bad cold, but because it just kind of, you have this metallic taste in your mouth, and it's just, it feels like your lungs are raw, whereas a cold won't normally do that. So I was out when they sprayed a really fat, low chemtrail, and I thought maybe it was chemtrail irritation, but it wasn't. I think it was a real cold. Anyway, so now, okay, so again, everything that was in this bed, well, I should say, the lettuce I had to replant because I planted it May 23rd and then the bugs ate it. So my lettuce seedlings were okay in the raised beds, but they totally disappeared. I was so excited because they popped up really fast, like basically by the end of March, they had popped out. And I was really excited and thinking, oh, I'm gonna have lettuce so early. But the bugs ate them, so I had to replant. But this bed is looking really good, and I hope I'm gonna turn this on manual focus. Hope I have everything in focus. So this is my huge oregano plant, and oregano is a perennial. It comes back year after year, and oh my goodness, it grows like a weed. Like, it's so tenacious, it's so strong, and you get awesome oregano every year. So I would totally suggest that for people. Then in the front here, I have a row of green onions. I have a green onion row that's going all the way along, and they're just looking great. Like, look how huge these bad boys are already. And today is May 10th. So they've been in the ground. Yeah, I guess they've been in the ground for a while. And some of these onions actually overwintered. The bulbs were still in the ground. Like, I had forgotten or I missed them when I picked them last year. And so a few of them were overwintered, but most of them were planted. So even the ones that were planted, again, March 23rd, are growing like gangbusters now. Now, in the back here I have this is an experiment. I have a little row of snap peas. I don't know if you can see them. They're like right back there. Everything looks so green. They're cool weather plants, so I thought, okay, well, maybe if the hedge shades them a little bit, it's not going to be that bad. When you're dealing with limited space for gardening, you have to get kind of creative, and you have to get a little bit experimental as far as how much you can fit in here and what you can fit in. There's also one little guy right there, one little snap pea right there. This is my beautiful chive plant. And chives are so beautiful, even ornamentally, because these little bulbs right here grow into these beautiful purple flowers. So honestly, like, it's beautiful. It can be used ornamentally, and you can also eat it. So like, what's better than that? My thyme plant is looking a little rough, but he's coming along. He's getting green. And then one of the really exciting things is these strawberry plants. So I put one strawberry plant in here, and I knew that strawberry plants spread out like crazy. So I was hoping that this one strawberry plant was going to spread out like crazy, and it did, but it took 2 years. This is I think this might even be the third. Yeah, this is like the third season that this plant's been in the ground, and it has finally spread out. So you can see anywhere where it has these little white flowers, these are all strawberry plants. So it's spread out. And I noticed that it's really weird. They send out little runners, and the runners go as far as they can. Like, as you see, right? They've set up camp right along this kind of railroad tie or wood. I don't know what this is exactly. Just a hunk of wood. That they're like right up against this. Three of these little strawberry plants, and then there's another one back there. So yeah, this is really exciting. And again, this is a really easy and good thing to plant. If you just want to fill in a bed, or, you know, like maybe you want to switch from flowers to something that's easier, some perennials. Strawberries will grow back year after year, and they'll just kind of keep replenishing themselves. You don't have to plant them. So yeah, I mean, you have to weed them. And I've got a bunch of oxalis back here because there was oxalis in with the original plant. And I know people are going to think it's mean that I'm pulling this oxalis, but honestly, it'll grow, it'll take over as well. But oxalis is a luck plant, I heard. So it's like a lucky shamrock, right? It's a shamrock type plant. But again, it'll grow like crazy and kind of push out the rest of the stuff. And we want these strawberries to be healthy and good. Okay, so that's this little end of the scenario. And then today I planted some basil beside this guy right here, and in these 2 rows here. And then I planted some kale seedlings here, but they kind of had the same fate. Let's see, is that him? Do I have you? Yep. They kind of had the same fate as the lettuce seedlings, which is that bugs went nuts on them. So this is a lone little kale seedling that I have going on here. I don't know if he's going to survive either because he's looking a little bit rough. Then again, as I say, we have onions all the way down this row. Look at those beauties. Yeah. Okay. I get a little too excited about gardening. Okay, and so then we have, these are the second plant lettuce seedlings in here because again, they got nommed by bugs. And I have two, actually I think I might have 3 varieties of lettuce in here. This is where they're really coming. This is when I just broadcast planted. So the first time I did 2 like kind of mini rows. And then this time I decided to try broadcast planting, and they dug in. So there'll be a lot of thinning that's gonna go on there. There's more lettuce. I eat a ton of lettuce. I have to eat a lot of salads for my health condition, so I have a lot of lettuce. And the unfortunate part is that lettuce, it won't grow. It goes bitter in the heat. So unfortunately, this is only gonna last me probably till beginning of July, but still, it's good. I planted some, so this is a section where no lettuce came up, so I planted some cucumbers here. And then we got more lettuce. Yep, I have a buttload of lettuce, it's true. But again, when you eat lettuce every day, or maybe every other day at at least, you need a fair amount of lettuce. Okay, then just today, May 10th, I planted my zucchinis. So the warm weather plants can't be planted early. You have to wait until later on, and till things have really warmed up. And warm weather plants are like tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, basil. What else is warm weather? Honestly, yeah, carrots and beets probably should have been planted a little bit later than I planted them. But that was okay. Peppers, right? Peppers have to be planted late. These are all warm weather things. And this is stuff I didn't know, because in Saskatchewan, people basically just plant after May long weekend, which is kind of near the end of May. And they just, as far as I knew, they just put everything in together. And then when I moved to BC, the springs are a lot warmer here. Like you actually have flowers at spring, like on March 21st at equinox, you have flowers starting to pop up, which is unheard of in the prairies, unheard of. Like you wouldn't see those flowers until May in the prairies. So yeah, I had to kind of reorient my gardening, which was a fun challenge. And yeah, so May 10th today I planted zucchini. So this is a regular kind of standard green zucchini. And then these 2 are Caserta zucchinis, which are the pale green ones. They're pale green with stripes on them, and they are so juicy. I think they last a little bit. Their season is a little bit shorter than the green guys. The green ones are just kind of the standard ones that you get in the grocery store. But the Casertas are kind of a specialty one that I ordered away from. I got my seeds from Prairie Garden Seeds, I believe it's called, in Saskatchewan. They have beautiful organic seeds. And so yeah, hopefully I'll have 3 gorgeous zucchini plants. I planted about 3 or 4 seeds in each of these each of these areas. So hopefully I'll get one solid plant out of that. And then I also planted my cucumbers today, which are gonna be, this is an experiment too. So they're gonna be in the front here along this row. And then you can see the row right there. And then in the back, see, this might be a little crowded. Again, it's an experiment because I don't know how much space these snap peas are gonna take. Then in the back, there's this row of snap peas. Really exciting. Like, look how big these guys are already. I mean, real gardener, you know, like farmers would have huge ones by now, but I'm, you know, just working with, stick the seeds in the ground and see what happens. But yeah, they're looking really good and really healthy. And so these snap peas actually just make a bush. They don't have to climb up anything. But I was thinking the hedge is right here, right? And so they can technically climb up the hedge if they want to. And then in front here, I'm doing the cucumbers because I think they'll be okay if they start trailing out this way. I think they're going to be okay to be there. But again, it's an experiment. That's the cool thing about gardening, is the experiments that you can do. So yeah, the only thing that's nerve-wracking, of course, is that they will eventually have to trim this hedge, and that scares me every single year. And they usually put a tarp down and they prop it up with like rakes underneath it. Sometimes they just, if the plants are big enough, sometimes they just cut it and then pull out the little pieces. But yeah, like this isn't, you know, so ideal of a place for a garden, but this was one of the spots this is Plutonic Punk Gardening, guys. So we're gardening wherever we have the ability, wherever we can do it. And so yeah, we're working with less than ideal conditions on planet Earth in general. And this is what we can do. We can grow a whole lot of food. And yeah, the hedge trimming's scary, there's no doubt, but you know, they've survived so far. They've survived 2 hedge trimmings so far, so hopefully this year's crop will survive as well. And then we have the adorable little raised bed that my landlord and I made together, which is awesome. I don't know how I'm gonna get my shadow out of the way, but yeah, so in this guy, we have snap peas. Okay, so get down low here. There are some beets planted along there. And then there's some snap peas. And again, you kind of have to leave a fair amount of space for the snap peas because they're big plants. So there's a little wee guy, little wee one growing right there. Then I have lettuce, and this is really interesting because lettuce has not grown very well in here in past years. See, look at those beautiful guys. But oops, oh, and I was covering the mic, so that's gonna be all, sorry, that's all gonna be all muffled, but anyway. I didn't have super great luck growing lettuce in here because I think the soil was too sandy and there wasn't enough like organic material in it. It wasn't rich enough. But since then I've put manure in here and I've also direct composted in here. So I've just buried fruit and vegetable scraps and stuff like that. So I think the soil is slightly better than it used to be, I hope, anyway. Because yeah, like look at this, we're growing some lettuce, we're officially growing some lettuce. So in a couple weeks, like I might be able to even cut some of that off. And then what I did find grows really well in this sandy this sandy bed, sandy soil, is carrots. And so you probably can't see them super great. Here's some of them. I have 2 rows of carrots in here. Oops. Okay, my camera just shut off automatically. Maybe I took too long of a video. This gardening video is way too long and boring. The camera's like protesting for you guys. But anyway, yeah, so here's some carrots starting to pop up. And I've had to plant carrots 3 times now to fill this in because they've just come up really, really sporadically. I just planted some new ones today. But you're supposed to do that anyway. You're supposed to succession plant so that you have them all year, all season, so that they're maturing at different rates. You're also supposed to succession plant with lettuce, so I guess that was a happy accident that those bugs ate all the first lettuce, because I was able to plant later, so now I'll probably have 2 crops of lettuce. Anyway, so yeah, that's the official update for May 10th, 2019. Like I said, most things have been in since March 23rd. And they grow slowly at the beginning of the season because of course it's still cold and there's not much sunlight, but the sun is coming on strong. We're actually supposed to have highs of 28 degrees, which is way above normal, on Saturday and Sunday. So these guys are going to be growing well. Yeah. And now I will take you guys to the community garden beds and we'll check out what's going on there. And look what we got going on here, guys. Another big old fat chemtrail. Hopefully that's in focus. I can't see because this one's a mess. But look at this beautiful Jordan. Gorgeous. Beautiful. And here we can see how the chemtrail starts to spread out, right? It's a kind of just it looks like a contrail, right? But it doesn't disappear after the plane. And then, you know, it just kind of hangs out in the sky, right? Oh, and see, they're spraying another one. They're spraying both coming and going. So we have all these old kind of, I hope you guys can see the old ones down there. We have 1, 2, 3 old ones. Oh, then we got another one up by the sun, actually, 4. Then we have this newish guy that's starting to spread out, and then we have another one that they're spraying right there. So yeah, it's supposed to be nice and warm and sunny. So you can see it starting to spread out into, this is like what it forms. It forms kind of like cloud wisps, right? And then eventually what this does is it somehow forms kind of blanket cloud. So it forms like kind of this flat gray cloud cover that just blocks out, you know, all the sun. And yeah, that's what's going on. So we've had some beautiful weather. Again, I don't know if I'm in focus here, you guys. I'm so sorry. The sun is like really in my eyes right now. But anyway, we've had some, I'll keep it pointed up at the chemtrails. We've had some beautiful, beautiful weather, like way hotter than normal and, you know, sunnier than normal because we usually get a lot of rain here around this, you know, in the spring. And it's been kind of a drought so far. And, which they're probably gearing up for forest fire season because I think that these droughts are being geoengineered. And chemtrails are part of the geoengineering program. Just look at that bastard, eh? Full of toxic stuff like aluminum and barium and strontium and all kinds of nasty heavy metals and yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. But anyway, I have been part of starting an open mic, a multidisciplinary open mic for mixed arts in this town. And we're playing tomorrow. It's going on tomorrow. And I'm just hoping these chemtrails aren't gonna, you know, ruin our day because it was the forecast is sunshine. And like I said, 28 degrees, which is like mid 80s, I think, Fahrenheit, which is way hotter than it normally is here. But they obviously have something in mind. They have something in mind with these trails, you know. So we'll see what the weather is actually like tomorrow. I'm gonna try to take some video of the open mic as well. Okay, so these are my 2 community garden beds. I don't have quite enough space at my place, so I rent 2 of these guys. And we have a lot of arugula coming strong, and arugula is really tenacious. You know, it lives. It likes to live. It's also delicious, but it's a cool weather plant, and it will go bitter in the heat as well, just like lettuce. It'll go so bitter that you don't really want to eat it. But I have a ton of arugula planted in here. And then I have a bunch of carrots. Again, they're really fine. They're really finely planted. But they're all, you can maybe see these guys, they're starting to come up a little bit nicer. They look like, you know, grass or something when they first start. You can't even really see them, but these are when they start to get a little bit bigger. So two rows of carrots, a row and a half of arugula, and then I have a full row of snap peas. You can see the snap peas down there. Sorry, my shadow's in the way. There's a couple right there. Oh, again, covering the microphone. The microphone is in a really bad spot on this camera. It's like right where you'd put your thumb. So yeah, just, you know, early starts, early beginning, but a strong beginning. It looks like it's all, you know, it's all eventually going to fill in here, which is what we want. We don't want any wasted space because we have limited space. Although with both these beds and both the beds at my apartment, I do have a like medium-sized garden. I have a decent-sized garden for one person, definitely. And then here's my bed number 2, and we have some beautiful strawberries over here. Again, I think I planted 2 or maybe 3 plants of strawberries in this bed, and they've spread out really nicely. Look how big and beautiful this guy is. Oh my goodness. Like, it's May 10th and they're already this gorgeous. They're already flowering. Not as many flowers on these guys as there are on my hedge bed plants, as you saw, but still pretty good. We're still doing well. Actually, I'll take it from this side because of the shadow. So in this bed, like I said, after waxing poetic about how much I love Swiss chard and how easy it was to grow, which it is, and I do love it, I couldn't plant any this year due to the oxalate situation. So I have 2 more rows of lettuce in here. Yeah, like I said, I eat a lot of lettuce. I eat lettuce like pretty well most days. I will eat lettuce. So this will give me a nice plentiful supply. And then I also have beets in here as well. Let's see if we can, I think they're right there. Yeah, right there. And they go all along here. You can see the little purple guys. And then a row of snap peas. Oh, and I also have some kale seedlings. They are right there. You can see them? Yeah, so this bed is lettuce, snap peas, kale, beets, strawberries. Beautiful strawberries. And this is our beautiful community garden. Again, it's probably don't have it in focus, but my apologies. Let's see if I can do something there. No, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, we've got a really nice little community garden going on here. Give you a full pan here. These are the lower beds, where my beds are. My little beds. And then, yeah, we don't actually have that many people gardening in these other beds. There's a bed of pure strawberries right there, which is awesome. I water and weed those guys and eat them throughout the year, which is great. And then one of our gardeners, really sadly passed away. It's really, really sad. But the nice thing is that her plants are, living on. And there was a really nice, there was a really nice plant of like flowers that were growing here. Looks like maybe somebody moved those flowers or maybe took them for a bouquet or something. But anyway, she has some beautiful strawberries growing here too, and they're flowering really nicely. Oh, and then someone has planted some tomatoes there too. So that's nice. So her garden spot is living on. That was really sad to hear. Because this lady wasn't even that old, and I'd only met her once, but it's sad when a fellow gardener passes away. Yeah, and see, this one isn't even being used. These just have camas lilies in them, so they're like kind of wild. And this is just like a herb bed that people just threw a bunch of herbs in here that were donated. So it's kind of wild and crazy. This one, there's not much growing in here either. Chives on the ends of it, but yeah. So anyway, this is just a quick, it's supposed to be a quick update. It's always supposed to be a quick update, and then I just keep talking and talking because I'm so in love with gardening and plants and stuff. So yeah, anyway, this is my update for May 10th, and hopefully I will, you know, get it together to do updates, at least one more update throughout the year to show you the progress, because it's really fun to watch things grow. And it's really amazing how things just explode into growth, you know, like these strawberry plants and my oregano plant, like, you know, it feels like one day they're tiny and then the next day, you know, it's just like having kids. One day they're tiny and then the next day they're like full grown plants. So yeah, anyway, signing off from the community garden. This has been your Plutonic Punk update for May 10th, 2019, and I will keep you in the know. There, and now everything is nicely watered. Everybody's had a drink. For these hot temperatures, which who knows with this chemtrailing program what the temperatures are actually going to be, but it's supposed to be, like I said, 28, which is very, very hot for May. Average here would be maybe about 21. So everybody's got a nice drink, and it's, you know, it's still cool enough at night, and it's still cool enough overall that I only have to water maybe every like 4 days. Once it gets really hot, I'll have to do it. I will have to do it every second day. I just found out, see, I'm not a sun lover. I'm not a heat lover. So the heat here is kind of wasted on me. But I just found out that where I live is hotter than Kelowna, BC, which is in the Okanagan, which is, I'm pretty sure there are hotter places in the Okanagan. I know for a fact there are. But yeah, we're hotter here than in Kelowna. And that makes me a little bit sad because, yeah, I find it a little bit oppressively hot here. I mostly hibernate during the hottest days of the year. And I will say also that, you know, the reason that I can garden and do these gardening videos is that I don't have to live on what I would lightheartedly call the standardized and enforced fascist schedule for human life. i.e., I don't have to live on the kind of mainstream workforce schedule, which, you know, has its pluses and minuses. Living below the poverty line, that's maybe the biggest minus. But, you know, I have time in my day. It's not that I don't work. I do work. But I'm not in that rigid schedule, which would be, you know, people do it, and people love gardening so much and they want to grow their own food so much that they do it. So even with full-time jobs, they do their gardens, and my hat is off to you guys for that dedication. But basically the point of Plutonic Punk Garden, oh, and I was also going to say that I like gardening in the ground exponentially more than I like raised bed gardening. I don't really like raised bed gardening, but when you don't have your own land and you don't have your own yard and you don't have access, you know, you don't have control over your own garden, you take what you can get. And so I'm ecstatic to have these raised beds as well. But I have to say that my favorite bed is the hedge bed garden because it's directly on the ground. And that's just what feels right and what feels natural to me. Raised bed gardening just feels it just doesn't feel quite right. But I'm still producing a fair amount of stuff in these raised beds, so I'm happy for that. And oh, my other point. Oh, my other point is, okay, so that kind of goes to this idea of Plutonic Punk gardening, right? Plutonic Punk gardening is, again, the idea that we're not living under ideal situation. We're not living under ideal conditions on planet Earth on a number of fronts. You know, these chemtrails would be kind of like one of many examples of that. But basically, you know, people don't have access to all the land that they might like to have access to. That's, you know, the way of it. And so you do what you can, right? You do what you can. And even doing what you can produces a huge amount of joy, right? And a huge amount of food, to be honest, because, you know, I'm just kind of scrapping together all these little garden spots and I'm feeding myself substantial amounts of food, you know, every year. I'm putting stuff away for the winter. So, I'm not like preaching like, oh, everybody should garden, but it's a soul feeding activity as well. So even if you just grow a little pot of tomatoes on your deck, or you grow a herb garden in your window or anything, I really think that is like it's a help, you know? And what I was mentioning about strawberries, for example, and oregano and things like that, perennials, they're really easy to grow. They're really easy to maintain. They don't take much. They don't even require much water, to be honest. Strawberries and like oregano, thyme, basil takes a little bit more water, but it's not a perennial either. You have to plant it. But yeah, those types of things grow year after year. Asparagus is another perennial that's pretty hardy. Like it really doesn't need much tending to. So honestly, you could, if you do have like a little patch of ground, you know, you can just throw those things in, and it produces food for you. You know, it produces food, and you might have to do a little bit of weeding, but honestly, you could pretty well neglect those things and they'd still, you know, they'd still be pretty hardy and pretty solid. So anyway, that's my report for today. This video is way too long. Like, if anyone makes it through this whole video, you deserve a prize. Like, I'll send you, like, I don't know, a sprig, like a big sprig of oregano or something for making it through. But anyway, until next time, happy gardening, everybody. And just one final shot of one of my absolute favorite things about spring. Lilacs! My favorite smell in the world. Maybe tied with campfires, but honestly, I think lilacs are edging them out, just because lilacs are so ephemeral. They are here for such a short amount of time. Tiny amount of time, which is so sad because they're so beautiful and they smell so delicious. So yummy. I'm always scared that a bee is gonna like sting my nose when I do that, but it's worth it. The danger is totally worth it. Because these guys are only gonna be here a matter of weeks and then they will be gone. Oh life, such sweet sorrows.